Welcome to Creature Guide Live Daily News. For those of you that don't know, my name is Ethan. We're streaming on both Rumble, Kick, and YouTube. And today we are going to be going over a new ceratopsian discovery as well as a new species of sauropod. So, from Sci News, Europe's Cretaceous fauna includes more ceratopsian dinosaurs than previously thought. So, using newly discovered fossils and cutting edge imaging, paleontologists have solved the puzzle of Europe's missing horned dinosaurs, ceratopsians, reclassifying animals once thought to be distant cousins of iguanodon as true members of the ceratopsian clade. Well, that's quite a, um, I guess, relocation, considering uh, both the ceratopsians and the ornithopods did belong to the same large clade of dinosaurs, being the ornithischians or ornithischia. However, they still were quite distantly related to each other. It's just quite a difference considering this was at the time when some of the first ornithopods, and I'm guessing when this would, well, no, it's mentioning Cretaceous. I was thinking maybe late Jurassic. So you already had a number of different species of ornithopods, like the iguanodontids, who would later become the hadrosaurs, and proto ceratopsians already existing during the early Cretaceous. So being, I'm guessing, somewhere between 130 to 245 million years ago.
I forget, what does proto mean?
Um, proto, it's like it's not exactly what, like, let's say you're referring to proto mammals, such as like the Dicynodonts during the Triassic period. They had many mammalian-like characteristics. However, there were certain things about their overall anatomy that classified them um, as synapsids, but not necessarily as true mammals. And mammals are also part of the synapsid lineage as well. So this is going to be somewhat similar to the ceratopsians. Basically, everything from like Pranoceratops or yin long, some of the earliest species of ceratopsians, to Triceratops and Pachyrhinosaurus. They were all ceratopsians, but only the Pachyrhinosaurus and Triceratops were true members of Ceratopsidae or Ceratopsids, whereas the others were protoceratopsids, but they were all ceratopsians. I'm guessing this is taking place between 130 and 145 million years ago, right here, with these ceratopsians, due to them mention or the article mentioning guanodon. Ceratopsians were a group of herbivorous ornithischian dinosaurs best known for parrot-like beaks, bony frills, and horns. Now, you do have to remember that there are a wide variety of different types of parrots today that have different kinds of or different structured beaks, also meant for preying on different species of fruits and sometimes insects, maybe even small mammals occasionally, or other birds. But depending on the ceratopsian, this characteristic or description can be somewhat accurate. These dinosaurs lived mainly during the late Cretaceous epoch, about 100 to 66 million years ago. Um, if you're referring to larger species, that is true. But if you're referring to the whole ceratopsian lineage in general, it dates all the way back to about 165 million years ago during the beginning of the late Jurassic. So when you had a wide variety of different species of stegosaurs roaming, though at the beginning of the late Jurassic, ceratopsians weren't much more than maybe 200 pounds or a little over 90 kilograms. So they were quite small. And they also did not have the elongated not hills, frills at the back of their skull,
I didn't
as
even
well as,
catch that you said that.
yeah, as well as large horns. They did, every ceratopsian practically had a very distinct beak like structure. I'd say the teeth probably became a bit more distinct, like to the ceratopsians a bit further into their evolution, but they didn't differ too much. You just had it where the ceratopsians during the late Jurassic were not able to feed on flowers and fruit because those two types of plant material had not evolved yet. So ceratopsian fossils are abundant in Asia and North America, yet have been almost completely absent from Europe. Until now, evidence on the continent consisted only of a handful of incomplete and debated specimens. That's interesting because, yeah, when you think of the ceratopsians, or when um, I'll say when I think of ceratopsians, usually it's Asia and North America that pop up. And with Europe, it's like they're just completely absent. You have different species of tyrannosaurs, certain species of smaller sauropods. Small is relative. I mean, easily 20-ton individuals. Certain species of, or well, other kinds of theropods, but not really ceratopsians. Occasionally, hadrosomorphs too. Let's see. The discovery of new, more complete fossils of Acaceratops from the late Cretaceous of Hungary prompted a fresh investigation using CT scanning and detailed evolutionary analysis. Okay, let's bring up that other ceratopsian. Actually, maybe let's bring up two. Prenoceratops. So Prenoceratops. Now, many when they think of these ceratopsians, or if they um, the viewpoint is that ceratopsians became all of them became larger as time went on. This was one of those later species that debunked that theory. So, Pranoceratops was a species of ceratopsid that lived in Montana around 74 million years ago during the late Campanian stage of the Cretaceous. And for the time, compared to most of the other ceratopsians in the region, it was quite small. But it was evidence that this wasn't even a juvenile or a baby that had been discovered of some species of Chasmosaur or Centrosaur in the region. It was simply a leptoceratopsid that apparently had found its way to North America and thrived. This could be a Prenoceratops. It does have like a more leptoceratopsid sort of look to it, and almost mixed with Protoceratops. I'd say this one's probably a bit better. These guys look like they'd make great pets. Some of these ceratopsians could be somewhat bipedal, but most of them were roaming around on all fours. Probably not too quick of runners. They didn't have many defenses, though. They had to be wary. Okay, so this is a problem.
It came up as a
Well, yeah, this is not a ceratopsian, but also carnivores did not coexist with any species of ceratopsian, whether in Asia or North America. And I believe that will count for Europe as well. I didn't mention the size of this animal. It was probably somewhere around 5 to 6 feet in length, or maybe around 1.8 meters, and might have weighed not much more than 120 pounds, or a little over 50 kilograms. So this ceratopsid was probably just feeding on different species of ferns and flowers over in Lake Cretaceous, Alberta, but it had to be careful for her due to most of the predators that it coexisted with. Carnivores that it probably didn't have to worry too much about were certain animals like Troodon. In fact, let's bring up a picture of him. There are different species of Troodon. Troodon. Troodon, in many cases, can
Oh,
be.
DON, right?
Yep. In many cases, it can be quite a debated group of um, dromaeosaurs. Well, more specifically, the what is it? It's the same clade of theropod dinosaurs that includes the different microraptorids. Yeah, I believe the alvarsaurs. They're a close branch to the dromaeosaurs. The branch of theropod dinosaurs I'm referring to is closely related to the dromaeosaurs, such as raptors like Velociraptor, um, Achillibrator, Ostroraptor, but it's not part of this other clade. So yeah, all of these with Troodon, they seem to be pretty accurate. I think this model looks really good. Troodons are also known for having extremely long, or not long, large or circular eye sockets compared to their skull size, which are possible indicators of these animals having quite decent nocturnal vision. Um, if also when it comes to animals that are active both day and the night, they are known as um, pre pre precup ugh, precuspular animals. So like a wide variety today. It would have probably been the same case for not just different species of carnivorous theropod dinosaurs, but even for the herbivorous ornithischians and sauropods as well. Oh yeah, this is a bit of an older depiction of a Troodon. Still not bad. The sickle claws of Troodon have always been depicted as being quite small compared to the different species of dromaeosaurs, which had usually much longer claws compared to their body size, at least the sickle claw on their foot. Troodontids tend to be portrayed as being very lightly built and not really meant for going after larger prey items, even though there have been certain depictions of Troodon as being able to take down animals much larger than themselves. When you look at the overall anatomy of Troodontids, what's he trying to eat? Like a crustacean?
Thought he was just spitting something out.
Oh, it could be.
He's like, "Look, it tastes good."
Well, it could be regurgitating a bone. There is evidence of theropod dinosaur regurgitation in certain instances. But troodontids just overall have a very lightly built jaw structure and skull structure overall compared to many other species of even the dromaeosaur clade. So, um,
Something about that I find weird.
I think it might be the tail. I don't think there are enough feathers on this Troodon. It seems to be
It also looks like he's standing on an iceberg.
yeah, it does. It just seems to be lacking in a lot of ways. I think its claws are actually a little too long. Um, okay, well, besides that, with Troodon, we can head back to the article. Troodon, on average, depending on the species, was only somewhere around 6 feet in length. They're pushing 1.8 meters and probably weighed somewhere around 30 pounds or a little over 12 kilograms. First described in 2010, Icaceratops has been controversial, with some considering it to be a horned dinosaur, while others interpret it to be a relative of Iguanodon, but with possible characteristics of a ceratopsian. Using new cranial material, Professor Susanna Maidment, a paleontologist at the Natural History Museum, London, and the University of Birmingham, and colleagues found that not only was this dinosaur ceratopsian, but that a previously described rabidontid, so the Rabidontids are a lineage of ornithopods that existed through much of the Cretaceous period. Called Maclodon, was also the same species. I'm not too familiar with that genus, Maclodon. And yes, I think some people might get confused when they hear Don in a certain animal, especially a dinosaur name, because usually when they hear the term Don, they think of um, what would be a dinosaur that people are well, I'm thinking of flying reptile like Pteranodon, but, I swore there was one that was a bit more renowned. It's not hitting me. There
More
are different s
renowned than a pteranodon?
Huh?
More renowned than a pteranodon?
Well, I mean, there's pterodactyl and then there's Pteranodon, but, um and pterodactyl is the species of flying pterosaur that does not have a crest. It is also a fraction of the size of Pteranodon. It barely has a wingspan of 2 feet or somewhere around point 0.6 meters.
What's the fish eater one? The little one?
Pterodactyl, Pterodactylus,
No, 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 no.
Rhamphorhynchus.
Yes. Is it about the same size as Rhamphorhynchus, or is it smaller?
Pterodactylus actually might be a bit larger than Rhamphorhynchus, at least more robustly built. Um, yeah, Rhamphorhynchus somewhere around 2 feet or, zero point 0.6 meters. Both lived in a similar area back in the late Jurassic. Actually, since we're talking about these guys, let's pull up Rhamphorhynchus. Considering now both also had long tails. RHAMPHOR.
Hold on.
Okay, popped up. So both lived well, Pterodactylus is known from Germany from the late Jurassic around 150 million years ago. Rhamphorhynchus can stem a bit further back over in different parts of eastern England. So somewhere around 155 to 160 million years ago is when you will find Rhamphorhynchus. Both, it seems, were mostly piscivores or feasting mostly on fish. This is one specimen of a Rhamphorhynchus. It's one of the best ones to be discovered. There's another one where it has like a completely open wingspan, but I think this is better overall. It has very distinct conical teeth in its mouth, which is a very distinct trait for species of pterosaurs before the early Cretaceous period. The Jurassic and Triassic pterosaurs were um, doesn't seem so far that there's any evidence of any species of pterosaurs during those times to have had a toothless um, bill? No, I mean, I guess overall just skull structure. This is more of a pterodactylus sort of a representation, but it's claiming Rhamphorhynchus.
I went to pull the Walking with Dinosaurs one, and the picture's so small.
Um, yeah, it could also be a bit blurry depending on when it's snapshotted. Unless somebody, there have been different like re-illustrations of the 1999 series Walking with Dinosaurs Rhamphorhynchus, as well as all the other animals.
Oh, wait, I found a baby. Oh, I just
Yeah.
realized what I was looking at.
This could represent another type of, pterosaur. Looking at the wing membranes, this could be a Eudimorphodon, but the skull structure is completely off. What is interesting is that there's a dead pliosaur. Like, some massive wave must have just pushed it all the way out here, but at
And
least that's what they ate.
wouldn't that thing be tiny next to it?
Um, yeah, with the pliosaur having that type of a jaw structure, yeah, this pterosaur is huge and completely like the um the standing motion of this specific pterosaur, the way it's standing is completely off. And it almost has like a not a wolf. Gosh, what would that be? I'm trying to think of something. Not a some mammal is what it's resembling on its hind feet, almost like a raccoon or a
Oh,
coati
I
to an
see
extent.
that.
Yeah. And then also like pterosaurs tend to be very upright when they're standing and even when they're running. This is completely he's got major back issues. And his wings are the membranes. So the major skin areas are so thin. This animal does not have the ability to lift itself off the ground with that thin of a wing membrane, and the skull is just too heavily built. There were certain species of pterosaurs that had a bit more of like a robust jaw structure and the conical teeth, but that AI image was completely off. So the problem with this individual, even though it's a great model from the 1999 series Walking with Dinosaurs in the third episode, Cruel Sea, so it's supposed to be our Rhamphorhynchus, and it's actually an animatronic that they're using. As you notice on the front of the skull, there's literally a piece of bone sticking out of the flesh. That should not be there. It should be completely covered in tissue and not even end in that sort of a the skeletal way. I mean, you should have where the teeth are pretty much all the way to the tip, and then you have all of the gum, the skin, the tongue might actually extend a bit further. Everything else about the creature, except there might have been something off with the tail ending, but besides that, you can't see it in this picture. This is actually pretty good besides that. And like how it's grabbing these animals would mostly focus on small fish.
Do you want anything else?
No, let's go back to the
Oh, I thought there was 2
ceratopsian.
of them you want me to pull.
Oh, the pterodactylus. Um, Pterodactylus. It is also a bit of a distant relative to Rhamphorhynchus. Rhamphorhynchus specifically belongs to a family of pterosaurs called the Rhamphorhynchidae lineage of pterosaurs, whereas the Pterodactylus belongs to the Pterodactylidae lineage of pterosaurs instead. I know I said that Pterodactylus was probably a bit more heavily built. I think I just meant overall. His body is somewhat a bit larger compared to the Rhamphorhynchus. Is this him? It
I
could
don't
be.
think
No, it's a
so.
no, no, no. This is another species of pterosaur. Pterodactylus didn't have a crest. At least it looks like so far, this specific pterosaur didn't have the ability to have just had a crest in general. So Pterodactylus was around the same size and probably only weighing maybe a couple of pounds at most, or barely a kilogram. This might be another. Oh yeah, this is a better Pterodactylus specimen. This is a completely different species. Kind of wondering if one of the two specimens was a distinct genus, because this individual has extremely robust teeth compared to its overall skull. Very large eye socket, and almost like a I wouldn't necessarily say a pelican, but there's something about
Hold on.
his bottom jaw. There have been certain instances. Oh, this thing. Hey, it is a pterodactylus. Just of another discovery recently over in Germany. So, um, yeah, around somewhere between like 150 and 152 million years ago, you would have had Pterodactylus emerge after Rhamphorhynchus, still coexisting with different types of dinosaurs over in Germany. Even though at this time, when it comes to Germany's fossils, there tends to be a more widespread marine reptiles that are discovered, and less so different types of dinosaurs. Where dinosaurs are discovered during this time, they tend to be much smaller, mainly because Europe at this time was covered in islands. As you would head towards England, the dinosaurs became larger. Okay, we can head back to the Ceratopsian article. The analyses also showed that some other dinosaurs previously thought to be rabidontids had been long misclassified and were also ceratopsians, while iguanodon and triceratops look very different in literally every way. They look different. The groups they are part of both evolved from a common ancestor, the eutherians. So back in the early Jurassic, somewhere around 200 million years ago, meaning they've both inherited certain characteristics. I'd say when it comes to ceratopsians and ornithopods, actually, let's bring up a larger ceratopsian, Arrhinoceratops. So Arrhinoc. So both the ornithopods and the ceratopsians both had, to some extent, the ability to efficiently chew. And I'd say the ornithopods, even in their early days, so back in the late Jurassic, over 155 million years ago, could more efficiently or chew their food more efficiently than even the later ceratopsians during the late Cretaceous, 68 million years ago. Um, the teeth of the ceratopsians when chewing food would just slightly, um, um, I guess, slice or rub against each other back and forth, but the ornithopods could efficiently chew their food to an extent, almost like cattle, somewhat, or I'd say different species of herbivorous mammals today. This Rhinoceratops, he's got a bit of issues. This almost, you know what this does look like? Except he should have 3 toed claws and not, 4. But it looks like an Eotriceratops, except an Eotriceratops, has a bit more of a circular sort of a frill, maybe slightly larger, but not much. Eotriceratops existed over in, Montana, Wyoming, somewhere around 60, I'd say between 70 and 68 million years ago, just before Triceratops horridus would evolve. So it's not I'm not referring to the same species. But Rhinoceratops, this is interesting. These are giving quite distinct depictions, but this is obviously a much older drawing. This could be for the 1970s, maybe in late 1960s.
I think he needs a pedicure also.
Trying to remember what that is. Oh yeah, yeah. His nails are a bit long. He should also only have 3 claws. That's interesting. His hind feet, the ceratopsians, for the most part, especially the larger individuals, should have 4 clawed toes towards the back. And also, what's interesting is that many species of larger ceratopsians tend to have quite wide feet compared to their body size,
I just found another one with 4.
which is because many of these species are found amongst very swamp or basically swamp ecosystems. This is a bit closer to an Orinoceratops when looking at the overall body structure and just the morphology of these animals and looking at the skulls. This seems to be maybe a depiction from like the 1990s, I'm guessing. That might be an Albertosaurus towards the back. Orinoceratops was found, I believe, among the Red Deer River over in the province of Alberta, Canada. So this animal existed in the region around 74 million years ago. And there were also a wide variety of other different species of larger ceratopsians, such as Chasmosaurus, that existed here. And speaking of Chasmosaurus, the Orinoceratops is a member of the Chasmosauridae lineage of ceratopsians. It also did coexist with different species of centrosaurs. I believe this was close to the same time as the um, Praenoceratops too. So they might have come into contact with each other, even though the Praenoceratops probably not much larger, if um, maybe even smaller, perhaps than the youngsters in this photo.
Okay, what's with this guy?
It's not bad. I'd say his horns are a bit large. You know what? This is probably a different species of ceratopsian. I wonder what this is from. I don't think it was from that new
Says
Walking with Dinosaurs thing, is it?
no, it says walking with Wikis. Wikis.
Well, it's
Kind of.
showing it could be. I just don't remember the model.
And
Or
it's blurry enough that it looks like it was coming off of a show and somebody screenshotted it.
yeah, I'd say the horns might be a bit long compared to its body size or
Just smeared
overall
it.
skull.
Does the face look like a dog?
Certain ceratopsians do have that type of a look. In fact, there's actually a number of them. Many are from the Chasmosaur lineage of ceratopsians. Certain ones are also centrosaurs too, which are two completely different lineages of ceratopsids. So our Rhinoceratops was also a bit of like a medium-sized species of ceratopsid. So somewhere around 13 feet in length or 4 meters, and probably weighed a little over 2,000 pounds or a ton or a little over 900 kilograms. That's pretty much it. We can get rid of this and head back to the other article or the ceratopsin article we're still discussing. Um, so yeah, I guess yeah, Rhinoceratops. The horns also tend to splay out to the side to an extent. They also independently evolved for leggedness, complex chewing mechanisms, and a large body size. The interesting thing is when it comes to the ceratopsians is that there were other closely related groups of herbivorous dinosaurs that pretty much stuck to bipedalism or focusing on being restricted to only walking on 2 legs. This isn't a new trait for different species of herbivorous dinosaurs, but one that a group that I'm referring to are the pachycephalosaurs, and you could say to an extent, um, well, if you go further back before even the eutherians, which would evolve into animals such as the stegosaurs and chylosaurs. You had the prosauropods back in the Triassic period, so over 210 million years ago, even to the early Jurassic around 185 million years ago. Many were bipedal and did not have the ability to walk on all fours. So let's see. This means that their teeth and limbs look quite similar, both because of their shared history and a way of life. Um, Kind of sounds like that other article with the crocodilomorph. Well, we just think it was just, a way of life. Um, I don't know what you could get out of that. Maybe I think what they're trying to say is just simply something about its lifestyle in the ecosystem. So when we only have small parts of the skeleton to look at, it can be quite difficult to tell what's what. By confirming the existence of ceratopsians in Europe, the study fills in a long-standing gap in the journey of these dinosaurs across the northern hemisphere. Because the first fossils discovered of Acaceratops were so incomplete, it meant lots of scientists doubted it was a ceratopsian, said University of Birmingham's professor Richard Butler. What's so exciting about the new Acaceratops fossil is that it allows us to confirm that horned dinosaurs roamed the islands of Cretaceous Europe, but also challenges us to radically rethink our understanding of these ancient ecosystems. Well, the question is, when did Acaceratops roam the Cretaceous um, over in Hungary? That I'm completely blank on, or I'm questioning. Outside of it mentioning that um, ceratopsians only existed during the late Cretaceous, which is not true. They go back to late Jurassic. We have no idea when this dinosaur roamed. Let's see. Um, okay, the earliest ceratopsians, such as Yin Long, evolved in Asia before spreading multiple times in North America. Yin Long is a small species of ceratopsian, not ceratopsid, because ceratopsidae had not. That specific family of dinosaurs wouldn't evolve until later into the Cretaceous. Yin Long evolved in China around 158 million years ago, towards the very beginning of the ceratopsians' evolution. And like the Ectoceratops, the yin long did not score any elongated frills towards the back of its skull, not even any horns towards the side of its frill, like certain, not frill, cheeks, or I guess the sides of its skull, like certain species of Psittacosaurs, such as Psittacosaurus. And let's see, doesn't seem to be, or at least many species of early ceratopsian, at least from the Jurassic, are not reconstructed with having feathers, which I find a bit odd. Where they evolved into frilled species such as Triceratops and Torosaurus. Well, yeah, in North America by the end of the ceratopsian's reign, about 68 million years ago. The easiest route for these dispersals would be through Europe. But the lack of fossils challenged this. We know that dinosaurs were able to cross the Atlantic, which was just starting to open during the Cretaceous.
How does that
Dinosaurs,
sound like they could swim that far?
um,
That's
yeah,
the way
well,
they wrote it. It was like it swam across the Atlantic, or they could swim across the Atlantic.
at certain points when the continents were first um, separating, over short distances, many species of dinosaurs could do just fine. And I'm referring to half a mile or, what would that be? Almost a kilometer. Yeah, that's one thing. But then when it comes to hundreds of miles, no.
They're
Most
not polar bears.
Yeah, most even semi-aquatic animals don't want to travel that far. Um, what's another thing? Yeah, once it hit a certain distance, they didn't even bother. You had it where North America and Europe, especially during the Jurassic, were connected, and that's how you had certain types of dinosaurs with the same genus, just a different species, existing both in North America, Europe, at some points even Africa. Dinosaurs such as Allosaurus have been found in Portugal and the United States, showing that they had at least some ability to move between continents. And Allosaurus is one of those examples. It's like Allosaurus fragilis over in North America, and you had Allosaurus europus. There's another specific species, I believe, that's also over in Europe, but has been found over in the southern part of the continent as well. So let's see, that was somewhere around 151 million years ago. Lots of animals can swim, and as the islands of the Central European basin weren't that far apart, whatever that means, it would make sense that dinosaurs were able to island hop. Yeah, that would be in like short distances, not even I would think tens of miles or over 50 kilometers. Horned dinosaurs like Triceratops are some of the most iconic dinosaurs, but most of them are from North America. I think every truly iconic dinosaur is from North America. T Rex, Triceratops, Stegosaurus, Brachiosaurus, Brontosaurus. Um,
Velociraptor.
oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Well, Velociraptor.
Um,
No,
uh,
Utah Raptors from here, but
wait,
yeah,
wait,
Velociraptors from Mongolia.
wait. What's the one they said? What's the largest sauropod?
Oh, Argentinosaurus is from Argentina,
Yes.
southern South America. I was thinking then there's pterosaurs like Pterodactylus or pterodactyl, which are from Germany. Pteranodon is from North America. I just swore there was somebody else. Baryonyx or Suchomimus or Spinosaurus is from Northern Africa. And then one of his close cousins, Baryonyx, is from England.
So not everybody's from here.
No, I'd say a larger proportion. Their earlier, I guess somewhat earlier discoveries were all from here. I'd say 18. If they were found in the 1800s, then yes, they're all from North America. And then the early 1900s, because you had 1910s when animals like Spinosaurus were discovered. Argentinosaurus much later. Okay, let's see where we were. Okay, now we found them in Europe. Um, well, I'm glad that this small species of ceratopsian Acaceratops has been discovered here, and it definitely says quite a bit about their evolution. But like I said, we don't know when this animal appeared. So that's a huge question. Is it just one of those small ceratopsians that existed in late Cretaceous, hiding in plain sight because they've been misidentified for decades as other types of dinosaurs? Say University of Edinburgh's Professor Steve Brusate. So yeah, wow. You had who was it originally? Oh, well, I guess just the UK in general. Like, we got to make sure we have ceratopsian. And yes, everybody is proud of this. Okay, let's head over to the next species of dinosaur. So, paleontologists unveil new species of sauropod dinosaur. Fossilized remains found in Patagonia, Argentina, back in 2009 represent a new genus and species of plant eating dinosaur that belong to a group called Rabacosauridae. The Rabacosaurs are a lineage of the diplodocid dinosaurs or the diplodocid sauropod species, which date back to the Jurassic. If you're talking specifically the Rabacosaurs, they're odd. They first evolved somewhere around 166 million years ago at the beginning of the late Jurassic. And then all of a sudden, somewhere between 125 and 122 million years ago, they just disappear from the fossil record, which was only during the first 20 to 22 million years of the Cretaceous period. Why? And the Diplodocids still would continue till somewhere around 90, somewhere between 90 to 100 million years ago. It is odd. I mean, the Diplodocids didn't end up disappearing right at the time the Cretaceous that many types of sauropods ended up disappearing as well. Even different types of carnivores. Let's see. Rebeccasaurs also never became very large. Also, I think this pterosaur might be relative to pterodastro. But focusing on the sauropod, they really didn't reach much more than 45 feet in length. They're pushing a little over 14 meters. Maybe weighing around 13 tons. Largest. The newly discovered dinosaur species lived in Patagonia, so Chile, Argentina area, in southern South America between 99 to 96 million years ago. Dubbed Campanian. Wait a second. Hold on a second. I oh, I mixed up sauropod lineages. Okay, this is a Rebeccasaur. I was thinking of Dicryosaurs. That's annoying. It's still a diplodocid. Wait. Yeah, sorry about that. A okay, so dubbed Campanian fragilismus. The ancient plant eater was an early member of Rebeccasauridae, a group of diplodocoid sauropods that diversified primarily on the supercontinent Gondwana between the early and late Cretaceous. Rebeccasauridae is recovered as the basal most group of Diplodocodidae, said Dr. Lucas Larzo, a paleontologist with the Fundación Azera Universidad Memodis and CONICT, and his colleagues. Okay. Although the inferred origin of diplodocoid sauropods is in the late lower to early middle Jurassic, I'd say somewhere around 170 to 175 million years ago is when the diplodocids first evolved. It is not until the lower Cretaceous that Rebecca-sword sauropods appear in the fossil record, with a peak of diversity at the end of the history of the family in the early upper Cretaceous. Okay, I think I should be mentioning some other people. So let's bring up Delta Dromius.
What's his last name?
Uh, it's not hitting me at the moment
You said
because
it, you said some other people.
it's just his genus name. Deltadro Meus. Oh, okay. So this is a species of carnivore. More specifically, I believe it's still a bit of a debate, but it looks like it's at least a member of the Carcharodontosauroideae lineage of theropod dinosaurs. And there have been a wide variety of different guesses as to how large this theropod was. So it existed over in Niger, or I'm actually no, not Niger, possibly, but Morocco, so northwestern Africa, somewhere around 98 million years ago. And it's been found in the Kem formation, kind of like Spinosaurus as well as Carcharodontosaurus. I believe sauropods, long neck sauropods such as Paralotitan. And this animal, well, in this instance, he seems quite small. I
This
wonder
one
who the
looks different.
crocodilomorph is in the background. It could be him.
His face is rounded.
They're giving him a very Carcharodontosaur look. Delta Dromius was pretty distinct, even the Carcharodontosauroideae lineage of theropods, not Carcharodontosauridae, which is a family of the Carcharodontosauroideae. So, Delta Dromius originally, back I think in the 1980s, 1990s, was thought to be somewhere around 26 feet in length or pushing around 8 meters and maybe weighing somewhere between 1 to 2 tons. And looking at more recent analysis of its overall anatomy, this animal could reach somewhere between 11 to 12 meters, or possibly reaching somewhere around 36 to 39 feet in length, and probably weighing somewhere around 4 to 5 tons. It was quite a lightly built species of theropod compared to many of the other dinosaurs it coexisted with, like the Carcharodontosaurus, Spinosaurus, and then definitely when you compare it to different species of tyrannosaurs later on. But it was quite tall, probably reaching a height of somewhere around 13 to 14 feet, or pushing just over 4 meters, and reaching somewhere around 36 to 39 feet in length, or 11 to 12 meters. Probably hunted the different species of sauropods that existed over in Morocco during the early late Cretaceous period, and as well being competition for the other larger species of theropod dinosaurs in the region. As for the overall either feathers or osteoderms, at least on this image, it doesn't seem there's any evidence for that occurring. Also, his head is actually, you know, why the teeth might be sticking a bit out or just a bit off to a certain angle in this depiction is because it's very possible that Deltadromeus is a close relative of the Noasaur group of theropods, which would consist of animals, especially later on into the Cretaceous, such as Machikosaurus. And Machikosaurus existed over in Madagascar towards the end of the Cretaceous around 68 million years ago. This could be Deltadromeus. Deltadromeus used to have more of like a dromaeosaur sort of appearance to him, compared to more certain other recent depictions. Or I guess you could say something between a dromaeosaur and something like a megalosaur, such as Sinraptor, which is a Chinese megalosaur.
Okay, this guy's got some problems.
Yeah, it's one of those, I think, National Geographic models from the early
I'm just
2010s.
looking at those arms.
Even at the time, it was just, or I saw it as just goofy. Um, Probably because it was coming from National Geographic. Yeah. Well, here's the thing with Delta Dromius, it did have long arms compared to its body size, unlike most species of theropods, not including the Therizinosaurs. But when you compare it to animals such as the megaraptors have very muscular arms compared to their body size. I'd say when it comes to, well, then there are the Spinosaurs. Before their body size, megaraptors probably had the most muscular arms of any group of theropod dinosaurs, even when it comes to larger dromaeosaurs as well. Okay, let's head back to the sauropod. And yeah, I think I mentioned he would have eaten them. So Rebbachisauridae is. Oh wait. Um, yeah. Rebbachisauridae is characterized by a highly pneumatized skeleton, which deeply invades the axial skeleton and the pelvic girdle. They present novel features in the dorsal vertebrae not reported in any other sauropod. The postcranial remains of Campanian fragilismus were collected in 2009 from the Candeleros Formation in Barda Atravesada de las Campanas, Neuquén Province, Argentina. There are a wide variety of other types of dinosaurs that come at least from the province. They were found along with the fossils of small theropod and Rebbachisaur dinosaurs, a turtle, and a lizard. That is interesting. I wonder if the smaller theropods were fragmented because not many species of small theropods, at least named ones, come from Argentina, at least when they're associated with certain sauropod dinosaurs in certain formations. The team's analysis showed that Campanian fragilismus is closely related to Zephylosaurus sidersora and a specimen from the La Amarga formation. The new Rebecca is recovered as the sister taxon of Sidersora due, I think it's supposed to be due to the presence of Procelis posterior caudal vertebrae and uh, dorsoventrally flattened posterior caudal centra. Campanian fragilismus presents an extreme nubitization of the sacral region with an autapomorphic dorsal alar arm of the sacral transverse processes. So we're getting some info on specifically what of the skeleton they've discovered of the sauropod. Let's see, who else? There is another theropod. Let's bring up Elaphrosaurus. So Elaphrosaurus. So this, I believe, also came from South America much earlier in time, I believe. Somewhere around 155 million years ago during the late Jurassic. And Elaphrosaurus is a bit of a questionable sort of a theropod dinosaur. At least this does seem to be an overall accurate depiction, at least at the moment, as to what it might have looked like. But Elaphrosaurus is very off in the family tree when it comes to theropod dinosaurs. Specifically due to the fact that it belongs to a family of theropods called the Elaphrosauridae. And the Elaphrosaurs are interesting. They tend to create or they formed almost like a small abelisaurid type of a skull structure in some cases. Yeah, this AI image is, it's more like a Compsognathus to an extent.
Okay, that wasn't just me.
Yeah. maybe even some sort of a neotheropod, or not even neotheropod, I'd say like a coelophysid, somewhat, but, branching off of that,
Well, that's
um,
look at this.
yeah, the Elaphrosaurs tend to be reconstructed with very small arms. Yeah, that it could be an older depiction of a Elaphrosaurus. It's very possible looking at the, skull structure. This looks like also something from maybe the 1970s. It has that look. I would even say late 1960s. It's just colored. It has that like purple, yellowish. There's just something about it. It has that sort of gloom. But the arms, when it comes to the Elaphrosaurs, were for some reason very small, but they had very long tails compared to their body size, unlike most species of theropods. I mean, there were a number of theropods that had relatively long tails, especially certain members of Neotheropoda.
Okay, this guy's gonna be kinda blurry, but
So, like dinosaurs such as Cryolophosaurus and Monolophosaurus. But that was earlier in the Jurassic. Hmm.
I just pulled him up 'cause I saw his tail.
Yeah, that also tends to be a bit of a characteristic with older depictions. They gave the more lightly built species of theropod dinosaurs too robust of tail structures. And same thing for the head. I'm not sure who this is supposed to be. Hmm. Maybe some member of. No, I don't think near Theropoda. It looks a little too late Jurassic and early Cretaceous in structure for whatever family of theropod it's supposed to belong to. Granted, the picture's also blurred, but we can get along. I mean, we can get a lot from this picture. Well, okay. Let's see. Let's just head back to yeah. Oh no, wait. Yeah, don't completely get rid of them yet. That's another thing about the Elaphrosaurs. They seem to be very nimble on their feet, but also very small feet compared to their body size. It is a very unique group of theropods, but as you can see, the thigh bone is extremely short compared to the shin bone and very long. Some of the longest ankle bones compared to its body size of any species of theropod dinosaur. And then there are its arms, which are almost similar in size to it when it comes to different species of tyrannosaurs. I wouldn't necessarily say a Bellysaurus. Bellysaurs are very small arms, such as Carnotaurus. Trying to think of who else. Actually, there are also the Mononychids, which also have very small arms, but they were even worse. Let's see, another one. I think believe there were certain species of Troodontids that might have had very small arms too. For some reason, it's Carcharodontosaurids also had quite small arms compared to their body size, specifically of Carcharodontosauridae. But this animal also, if you notice, it has one of the longest necks compared to its body size of any species of theropod dinosaur, and quite a small pelvic region. It is odd as to why this. I actually kind of like it though, but why this family of dinosaurs, a small family too, decided to just elongate almost everything. But if it's pelvic area, its arms, I'd say the shoulder blades aren't terrible and its skull structure. I mean, you could say its skull is a bit long, but it's also a bit robust as well. Very large nostril area too, and it also looking at the side or the orbital, basically where the eye socket is. Seems to have probably had mostly side or peripheral vision and not seeing very well in the front. So probably would move its head to the side to get a clearer vision of what specific prey animal is in front of it, or if it's dealing with another species of theropod dinosaur. So it's quite interesting. Oh yeah, very small feet. It's just odd. Why in evolution didn't elongate everything. So finally, the phylogenetic analysis. I mean, there's probably some benefit. The phylogenetic analysis supports a South American origin for Rebeccasauridae. That seems about right. I think it's one of those theories. Oh, okay, it does support that theory. And an early diversification to Africa and Europe by the Barremian Aptian stage of the Cretaceous, as previously suggested. So this seems to make sense for this type of or this group of sauropod dinosaurs. I'd say the diplodocids overall, despite them not making it to the end of the Cretaceous, did quite well. I mean, you had it with a wide variety of different species. even over not just South America, but North America, like Diplodocus itself, and even over in Asia, where you had a wide variety of different Diplodocids, such as Mamenchosaurus, and you also had Barosaurus over in North America as well. Okay, so thanks for joining. And from prehistoric to present, my name is Ethan. This is Creature Guy Live Daily News. We are strumbling again. We are streaming
I think you
on
just like that word.
YouTube, Rumble, and Kip. Um,
Did you just say Kip?
yeah, yeah, Kick, and also happy International Ice Age Month. And remember that nothing is better than all animals all the time.